Hi and welcome everybody. My name is Philip Tenser, better known as Logan McCree, and you're watching the YouTube channel The Uncanny X-Men. Sorry, I haven't done a video in quite a long time, but I thought tonight was a good occasion to do so. I'm down in London at the moment. I attended a march for men's rights today, organized by the organization Split the Difference. Great organization, it's worth checking them out and to support them. But that's actually not what I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about what happened afterwards. I was hanging out with some of the guys and girls from the march, and we went from a restaurant to a bar, and the bar was called Elba. And we were sitting there on a table. It was pretty crowded. We were just minding our business, and I was wearing this hat, and it's a Trump 2020 Keep America Great hat. And the waitress came over to our table and she said, "Oh, sorry, I have to ask you to take off your hat." I said, "Why is that?" And she said, "Oh, we've got a policy that people are not allowed to wear base caps in our bar." And I was like, "Are you kidding?" And so she went to the next table and there was a group of black guys, and some of them were wearing base caps. And she made them take off the base caps as well. And the people on my table, they said, "What just happened?" And I said, "I'm pretty sure they made everybody take off their base caps just because I'm wearing a Trump base cap." And even the guys from the next table, they were like, "What just happened?" Told them the same story. And because the waitress came back, and I said, "Sorry, I have to ask you directly. Did you make us take off the base caps because I was wearing a Trump hat and you didn't agree with the political message?" And she said, "No, we have a policy in the bar that people are not allowed to wear base caps." I said, "Okay." So I got up, I went to a different part of this pub, and there were quite a few people sitting there with base caps and beanies. And then I went to the bar, asked the stuff there if there was such a policy. They said they had never heard of it, and they referred me to the night manager. So I asked the night manager, "Is there a policy that people are not allowed to wear a base cap?" And he said, I don't really know what you're talking about. Who told you that?" I said, "Oh, we can go to the other part of the bar and I can show you the waitress." So we walked over there, and he said, "Well, there is no such policy, but he can't tell me for sure if there wasn't a policy like that," which sounded a bit fishy. And then I said, "Yeah, all these guys had to take off their base caps, and I had to take mine. Is it maybe because it says Trump 2020? And it was like, "Oh yeah, you're not allowed to wear this base cap. We don't agree with political messages. Nobody is allowed to wear political statements on their clothes." I'm like, "Oh really? So if it would say Biden 2020, you would ask the person to take it off as well?" "Oh yes." And I said, "If it had a European flag on it, would I be allowed to wear it?" And he was like, No. "So what if it had the rainbow flag on it?" He's like, "Oh, that's different. You would be allowed to wear the rainbow flag." And I was like, "But it's a political statement." "No, it's not." He said, "I'm part of the LGBT community. It's a political statement." He said, "No, it's a protected group, so you'd be allowed to wear that." I was like, "That's just bollocks." And I started to get a little bit irritated, and everybody around us started to listen. And I said, "Just because you don't like my base cap, all these other guys had to take off their base caps so you could cover for your bias. I want you to allow these people now to put up their base cap again." So he did. He told them they can wear their base cap again. I wasn't allowed to wear my base cap. The nice thing is that all the people sitting there, they're like, "What the?" They were totally on our side, and I said, "Look, I was fighting for your right to wear your base cap because, yeah, it shouldn't be like that." And they're like, "Well, you should be allowed to wear yours as well." And later on, they actually came over to my table, and we had a great conversation. And they weren't Trump supporters, but they weren't against Trump. And they said, well, compared to Biden, Trump should definitely win. And then we had a great conversation, and they said they were all in favor of free speech, and they said nobody should tell you what you can wear and nobody should be banned from wearing a political message just because the place doesn't agree with that. So yeah, that's it. That was my story from tonight. After all, it was a great evening, but quite outrageous that people would just, even in London, people would tell you, oh, you're not allowed to wear a Trump hat because they disagree with the political message. And we all know that if I had worn a Biden 2020 hat, nobody would have said a thing. We know that. Yeah. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, and leave a comment if you want to. Take care and goodbye.